Hello everyone and welcome to another video. Today I am filming my November wrap-up. So November was one of the most stressful, difficult months for me that I've had in a very long time, but somehow I managed to figure out how to read again. Because if you've been watching my wrap-up since I got to Korea, I haven't been reading very much because I've been incredibly busy. Don't get me wrong, I am currently busier than I've ever been, but somehow I read 11 books in the month of November. So we're gonna be talking about 11 books in this. I'm really excited. Some of them were like some of my favorites. I had 5 stars, 4 stars, and then I think 3 stars. But yes, so many great books. So let's start talking about them. So the first book I read in the month of November was The Companion by Katie Allender, and I am so thankful to this book because this is the book that I give credit to for getting me back into reading and for reading so much in November. So basically this follows a girl named Margot who at the beginning of this book, her entire family is killed in a car wreck and she's the only one that survives, and she has no family that can take her in, so she has become an orphan. So she goes to this house for orphans, an orphanage, if you will, and suddenly this really rich family is like, hey, you don't know me, but your dad once saved my life, so I'm gonna take you in and you can come live with us now. So she goes and lives with this really rich family in this giant mansion, and then little does she know is they want her to be a companion for their sick daughter. And by sick, I mean like she is a vegetable. Like she can't do anything, or like she doesn't talk, she doesn't give you any emotion or do anything, but if you tell her like go get dressed, she will. So there's something mysterious going on in this house. Something mysterious happened with the daughter, and Margot is like, why didn't y'all tell me about her? This is creepy. And then Margot keeps getting signs about you need to leave this house. So like something spooky is going on, and I will tell you, the very first day that I read this book, I had a bad dream about it that night, like a spooky dream. So that's how you know a book is good, is if you start having nightmares about it. It's not over the top scary, it just gives like super like spooky vibes and atmosphere. I really loved the writing in this book, and like I said, it was so atmospheric. I could picture absolutely anything like that was described in this book. I also discovered, if you will, that I love reading books about mansions and that take place in like creepy houses, because this was definitely that. There were so many secrets about like this hidden rich family that was really fascinating to discover. But yes, I really loved how spooky it was, and I gave this one 5 out of 5 stars. The next book I read was The Elite by Kira Cass. This is book 2 in the selection series. This is my first time ever reading the selection, and I am absolutely obsessed with it. I really love all the characters, and I am so incredibly attached to them. If you don't know, which you probably should because the selection is one of those iconic dystopian series. It follows a dystopian world where basically this prince is having a selection. So basically girls from all over the world like come in and he has to have this competition. It's basically The Bachelor in a dystopian world. But like I said, I love America, I love Maxon. This one angered me a little bit because there were so many communication issues, but I still gave it 5 stars. I really love the series. So great, so much fun. Love America, love Maxon. Chef's kiss, amazing. And the next book I read was The One by Kira Cass. This is book 3 in the selection, like the original trilogy. So this is like technically the finale. I know there's more selection books, but they don't follow the same storyline. They like follow like years in the future. So this is like the finale, and I did not expect to cry this much. I really cried a lot. Like I said, I was so attached to these characters that like if they were hurt, I just cried so much. The ending was so intense, and there were some characters I just did not want to see go. The character development in some characters was just immaculate, incredible. Didn't think that I would come to like some characters, but I did. I just really loved it. I will say America and Chris, the way their friendship left off, I am not a fan of. There was like no resolution there, so I'm interested to see if in the like second trilogy type books that are in the future, if there's more of a resolution, if we see something come of that. But yes, gave this one 5 stars. I love the series so much. I am almost 25 years old and I'm still giving the selection 5 stars. Like, it's incredible. Dude, what time is it? Inkigai's already on. Good thing I had my TV on, so if you see me like glance over, it's because Daejeon is on my TV, okay? The next book I read was The Vampire Wish by Michelle Maddow. So in November, I got Kindle Unlimited and I found this book on Kindle Unlimited. This is the first book I read on there. Of course, it's about vampires, so like I picked it up right away. So we're in this world where obviously vampires exist and there are multiple points of view in this book. So one of the points of view is from Annika. Now Annika is a human and right at the beginning of the story, she is taken by vampires to come live in this vampire kingdom called the Vale. The other point of view we have is from Jason, who is a vampire prince in the Vale, and he was turned against his will. And the third point of view in the first book is from Camellia, which is a witch in the Vale, and she kind of like creates the security and she works for the queen. Basically, it's Annika the blood slave and Jason the vampire prince, and they might have some romance going on, but also Annika's tired of being overrun by the vampires and being super weak, so she wants to figure out a way to save the humans and take down the Vale. While at the same time, Jason is really upset that he was turned against his will, so he might hold some grudges against the Vale as well. So this book was really, really fun. I will tell you right away, the writing is not great, so if you are a critical reader, you will not like this book. But I'm not a critical reader, so I really loved it and really had fun reading it. My main complaint about this book is that the plot and the storyline and the world isn't fleshed out. Like, these books are really short, and so I know that it could be a whole lot more fleshed out. The Vampire Kingdom, the Vale, is super fascinating, and there's also werewolves, so it's great to see all those characters and the way the world works, but I wish that it was deeper and more fleshed out and that we can see more details from that. But nonetheless, I still really had fun, and I gave this one 3 out of 5 stars. I'm also doing a whole vlog on this series, so I've decided to create a vampire series on my channel where I read new vampire books, and so I have a whole vlog reading this entire series, so be on the lookout for that one really soon. The next book I read was Tunnel of Bones by Victoria Schwab. This is a middle grade series, and this is book 2 in the series. The first book is City of Ghosts. So this follows Cassidy, who a year ago she almost died, and now she can cross over into the Vale and see ghosts, and her best friend is actually a ghost. But her parents are also like paranormal investigators, and they have a TV show, so they travel the world and talk about different ghost stories and all that stuff. The first book took place in Scotland, and the second book took place in Paris. It was really fascinating reading these because I've been to both places, so I could picture a lot of things that were going on. I preferred the Scotland setting, so City of Ghosts I definitely preferred more than Tunnel of Bones, but this one was really interesting because it took place in the catacombs of Paris, which is just one of those places in the world that fascinates me, like, more than anything. Like, I'm so fascinated by the catacombs, and this one also involved a poltergeist, so that was really cool. It's really interesting reading a middle grade ghost story. I think this would be wonderful when I one day have children, that I would want them to read these books. They are really great and perfect for younger readers as well as older readers like myself, but I still loved it, and I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. So the next book I read is a Magic Treehouse book. So if you don't know, I'm a teacher in South Korea, so I was looking in our library and we have some Magic Treehouse books, and I thought, why not? So I picked up Dragon of the Red Dawn by Mary Pope Osborne. This is, I think, book number 37, and basically the 2 kids go to Japan and they have to find like the meaning of happiness or something like that. You know the gist of these books. If you went to public school in America, you know Magic Treehouse. This one was so cute. I mean, all the books are super cute, and this is one I definitely want my future children to read. They are so informative. Like, you learn so much history. They're also like just really great reads and adventure stories for young kids, and I really, really enjoyed it and had fun reading it. And I also did learn some history about old Japan, so I gave this one 5 out of 5 stars. I mean, it's a children's book, so it's great. Loved it. So the next book I read was The Vampire Prince by Michelle Maddow. This is book 2 in the Vampire Wish series that I was talking about earlier. Once again, filmed a whole vlog for it. I liked this one even better than the first one. So in this one, we were introduced into a selection type competition. So like I said, Jason is a vampire prince and the queen wants him to get married to a vampire princess. So they ask each kingdom to send 2 vampire princesses, and he has to have this competition to find a wife. I really love that aspect, although it was pretty short and I wish the competition lasted longer. But the ending of these books always make you want to keep reading. Like, every single book I've read so far in this series, every time it ends, you just want to pick up the next one right away because the endings just leave you wanting more in a good way. So in this book, we also got 2 more point of views, but I don't mind. I love multiple point of view stories, but if you're not into that kind of thing, you might not like it because this series definitely has a lot of different point of views. So like I said, in the second book, we got 5, but I really liked it and I gave this one 4 stars. The next book I read was Right Before Christmas by Julie Hammerly. I got this as an e-arc from NetGalley, and this one just came out on November 30th. So basically it follows this single mom who lives in this town. She recently had to move back in with her parents because she got divorced and she is not having a great time right now, basically. On the other side of things, there is a famous author, like think a young George R.R. Martin, like that type of famous. His series just got turned into a TV show, so everybody's obsessed with him, except he just had this massive scandal. So he moves to this small town for Christmas to write his new book. He's on a deadline and he kind of just wants to escape because people are talking negatively about him right now because of the scandal, and she ends up working for him. I thought it was really cute, but nothing really special. Like, it was just kind of middle of the road mediocre. The main girl, Danny, I did not like her. Like, she rubbed me the wrong way. It is not a personality trait to not understand pop culture or understand how technology works. Like, I hate when characters are described that way. She also made people feel bad for understanding social media or liking social media. Like, some people in her family, like, that was how they created their living and like their business, and she just kind of like looked down on them for being engaged in social media. But yeah, I really liked the guy, and I think the author part of the story was really fascinating, but I give this one 3 out of 5 stars. The next book I read was The Vampire Trick by Michelle Maddow. This is book 3 in the Vampire Wish series, and this one I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. It started kind of going downhill just because things in this series happen so quickly, and I wish they took more time with each thing. Also, the main thing in this was fae were introduced, and I'm not a huge person that likes fae, like fairy stories or the fae. I just think that they're kind of disgusting because they're very tricky creatures, and because of them there was like an issue of consent. Basically, you know, when you go to fae, like in any story, you have to like give them something, whether it's your memories or something like that. And the payment was an issue here. We didn't see the thing actually happen, so we don't know if there was actually consent, but basically it was used as a form of payment, and so it kind of just like was an issue. Later on it was brought up. She was like, oh, like I enjoyed it, but still, like it was weird. It was weird. But there was a major plot twist in this one that I did not see coming. I probably should have, but I really didn't see it. Once again, the ending was incredible, but yes, I still gave this one 3 out of 5 stars. The next book I read was The Surrender Tree by Margarita Engel. I am gonna read basically like this little covering, like it's like the first page in the story because the story is very important and I don't want to mess up the synopsis in any way. So it says, on October 10th, 1868, a handful of Cuban plantation owners freed their slaves and declared independence from Spain. Throughout the next 3 decades of war, nurses hid in jungle caves, healing the wounded with medicines made from wild plants. On February 16th, 1896, Cuban peasants were ordered to leave their farms and villages. They were given 8 days to reach re-concentration camps near fortified cities. Anyone found in the countryside after 8 days would be killed. My great-grandparents were 2 of these refugees. So, heavy material. This book was written in verse, so it was really quick to go through. I learned so much from this story. So let me write like my notes here because I really don't want to mess this up. So I learned so much from this: decades of war, from being slaves to being taken over by Spain, to re-concentration camps, to being bought by America and still feeling enslaved, because when America bought Cuba, they didn't let any of like the Cuban leaders go to like the festivities or like any of this. They only like flew the American flag, not the Cuban flag. Like, they were still like slaves. So just decades of war and slavery and just, okay. Also, I found out that also these concentration camps were the first ever of their kind. So like before World War II, before Russia, like before all of that, these were the first of their kind. And so like it was intense. I can't imagine living a life like this. Like, I am so privileged, and reading these books really helped me recognize that. I already know it, but like just seeing how other people live and how they survive. I would not be able to do that. I still gave this one 4 out of 5 stars instead of 5. Like, it feels weird rating it, but I gave it 4 because it felt like it jumped around a lot, and so I got lost in some of it because it jumped from different years, and like we watched this girl grow up, and so like it was hard to tell what year we were in or what age she was at, but it was still very impactful, and I definitely learned a lot from it. The next book I read was Romancing the Holidays by Austen Johnson. Now, this was a collection of 4 holiday short stories. So the first one was St. Patrick's Day, then 4th of July, and then Halloween, and then Christmas. I was hoping they were all Christmas, so when I opened the book and like saw they were all different, I was kind of let down, not gonna lie. But these stories pretty much all followed the same formula. There's a girl, she's getting over a breakup, they meet a guy, something goes wrong, and then they get together. It's like the whole like Hallmark formula. I love Hallmark, don't get me wrong. I had a lot of fun though. The second story was actually my favorite, which was the 4th of July one, which is funny because 4th of July is my least favorite holiday, but it involved dogs, so it was pretty great. I rated each story individually, and overall the ratings came to 4 stars for the whole anthology, so that was pretty great. But like I said, now trying to come up with them, they all kind of blur together, but still fun, and like holiday stories, can't go wrong. So those were all the books that I read in the month of November. I can't believe I read 11 books. I had such a great reading month. Be sure to be on the lookout for my vampire vlog. I'm really excited to start that series on my channel. I'm obsessed with vampires, as most of you know, kind of my brand. But yes, thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you've read any of these books, and let me know what your favorite book in the month of November was. I would love to know, but that is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. As always, my social media links will be down below, and I will see you next time. Bye!